Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, we have a very, very special show today. This is my second ever interview. If you watched the first one, my first ever interview was with Joshua Matthew Black, individual who was at the January 6th Capitol protest riot, depending on how you look at it. That was an amazing interview, and I am incredibly honored to be able to interview my new guest today. Obviously, I'm messing up here. But I would like to welcome to Tyler Today News, everybody. I'm your host, Tyler, and today we're joined by a truly unique voice in the media. He's an actor, musician, co-host of Timcast IRL, and co-founder of Minds.com. I've come to greatly appreciate his views about the world over my years of watching his commentary, and it's absolutely amazing to be speaking with him today. So let me introduce today's guest, Ian Crossland. How's it going, Ian?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, dude.
Hell yeah, man. I don't really know where to start with this. Obviously, I'm on the Discord. I try to be involved in the community, and there was a lot of people hitting me up once I told them I was trying to have you on. And I have a few questions from members of the Discord. But I think a good question to start things off with would be, what was the moment that pulled you into podcasting and media commentary in a serious way?
I think it was... it was in 2000. I think it was 2008. I was in LA and I had this manager, this from CBS. They found me because of my YouTube videos. I've been making YouTube videos and it was just exhilarating in 2006, 2007. And that guy, they found me through YouTube. They were like, listen, your stuff's too racy. You got to stop making YouTube videos or we're going to drop you. And I was like, okay. So I tried to stop making YouTube, and then I just kept doing it because I was pretty intense, and they dropped me. And I realized then it was like my entire life kind of came crashing down, and I'd lost my way because I thought I was going to be an actor in Hollywood. I was just going to play the game and make the money and then save the world. I don't know what my plan was. And after that, I just kind of was like, well, I have nothing else but my integrity. So I'm going to keep speaking the truth and maybe something, I didn't know. It was like throwing a stone in a lake. I didn't know if anything was going to come of it. But that was when I kind of had made the decision. I just was like, I don't want to be fake for a living. I'd rather.
When was that? Like, what do you remember the year?
Yeah, it was 2008.
2008. So you've had a YouTube channel since 2000. So you were like one of the first people on YouTube then.
Yeah, technically. I mean, not technically. I was in the first group of, like, before the partner program, but before Google bought them, back when it was like Chad Hurley and all those guys. Yeah, it was early, like 06. June 2006 is when I started.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And obviously, I mean, you've come a long way since then. I mean, I had another question. How did you first react to and manage becoming popular? Like, what was how did you first react to that? And what advice would you give someone, I don't know, like me, that's on their way to having a larger audience?
It was jarring because I went from just being a normal guy, aspiring actor. I was like, I want to be famous, to all of a sudden having, in 2006, it went from like 0 to like 6,000 fans. And that's for someone to be a normal person and then to get a bunch of fans. And then I had like 30 people that were like die hard, would have died for me, literally would have like sacrificed their lives for me. Fan base, like a real hardcore fan base appeared, and it drove me. I kind of lost my mind. I didn't know what to do with the power. One, as I was becoming red-pilled and learning about the liberal economic order, Bank of International Settlements, all the fiat currency, all these things about the world, like maybe we're not the good guys. Other people around me didn't seem to get it. They didn't seem to be learning at the speed I was. And I felt very alienated from my friends growing up at that point. Like, things changed all of a sudden. I became this new, and they were like, Ian, what's wrong with you? You're a different person. Like, come on, you're supposed to be a funny actor, play the game. And I couldn't identify with them, and I got very lonely. Yeah. So that's something that can happen if you break through into being well known. Is the people from your past will want you to keep being that guy who you used to be, but you have to be this new guy to live this new successful lifestyle.
Right.
And then, so it was very lonely, and I look for people that are going through that and try and, identify with them. Because if I'd had more people around me that were like able to support my change, my metamorphosis, it would have been a little easier.
Definitely, and I know Tim's talked about that too, and I've also heard yourself. You both have talked about it on the show, and Tim talks about how the people around you even change. It's not just you. So what was that like for you? Did you notice anyone, or like anyone around that was close to you, or just friends that changed due to your sudden popularity?
Yeah, there was there's lots of little probably things. One of the biggest things was I have a very pretty intense, strong personality. I speak with conviction. I'm very much about convincing people of things if I believe it. Especially I used to be like that. And people around me just started folding. It was like everywhere, everyone was just like, okay, yes. They looked at what I was doing and they saw it as a success. And they thought, if Ian's saying it's then I'm just going to say, okay. And people wouldn't argue with, they wouldn't stand up for themselves around me. It felt like I was just dominating every conversation. If I went into a chat room online, the conversation would stop and they'd be like, Ian Crossland's here. And they would start talking about me. And I'm like, that's not why I came. I wanted to come see what you guys were talking about and be part of the conversation. And so meeting someone like Tim, and there are other people like this, but he's willing to argue with me, which is like, I just, for so long, I felt alone because no one would stand up for themselves to me. And I guess time went by and things changed. But when the cult energy, it's hard. Like it's scary when people just become yes men.
Right. Yeah, well, and no one wants a bunch of. I mean, maybe some people want a bunch of yes men around them, but I'm much like you. I love being challenged. I love not even arguing with people. I always tell people my favorite conversation is to have conversation with people that disagree with me, because usually I end up learning something, whether it's the way that they look at the topic, or I learn something that I didn't know about the topic. So my favorite conversations, I always tell everybody, I love conversations with people I disagree with. I purposefully bring up things because I want people to disagree with me, so that I can be proven wrong. I strive to be proven wrong often.
Oh yeah. Make a strong argument and then have a trusted source poke a hole in it for you. So you'd be like, I can make an even better argument next time.
Exactly.
You need those people. So the two things that happened were a lot of people became yes men or yesy and yes. And then, but my friends from the past, who are my tightest, closest friends, were very much like, Ian, stop, don't. And they were holding me back. So it was like, I needed a middleman. I needed someone that could skate the gap and be like, keep going, but I'm going to say no to you when I think you're wrong. I didn't have anyone around me that could have played that character. I think it's important to be that for people and to cherish the people around you that are willing to do that for you.
Definitely. And do you have someone like that now that can bridge that gap for you? You know, because obviously you're even bigger now than back then, right? So how do you handle that now? Because I'm sure you have even more people that are willing to be yes men for you now. Do you have people that bridge that divide, like Tim?
Not too many, I guess. Tim's a good example, because if I ever want to talk personally with him, he's like one of my best friends. It's easy to. But then he's willing to argue. I mean, he doesn't just argue for the sake of it, but like if there's a real problem in what I'm talking about, I don't know, not too much actually. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of people at that level right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we were just talking about, I'm sure it becomes hard. There's a lot of people that, like we were just talking about, they become yes men, and then there's other people that are just telling you, no, that's wrong. And it's hard. It's hard to have those people that will point out when you're doing right, but will also call you on your BS.
Yeah, and it's like no, the people that are not the yes men energy, but like the people that are saying no, they're saying, Ian, like, don't change into this new thing that you're becoming. We need you to be who you used to be. That energy. It's not like, no, you're wrong. It's like, Ian, why are you doing what you're doing? They don't understand because they just know me as this kind of nerdy guy from Ohio that was making fun of people for laughs. And now I don't know. It's nice to have someone that can, but I think in 2006 was a litmus test until we were learning this new technology of internet video where you can go from no one to having 1 million followers in like a day or a week. How crazy it can be.
Yeah.
And how to handle that abrupt exposure. So I think my generation was probably the first generation that had to deal our 2006 era of how to just deal with it without understanding it. Hitler was an example of someone that took mass media and took it to the worst possible extreme, and that was new technology, so no one really saw it coming.
Hmm.
Power mass formation with radio and television and internet. So just this,
And
it happens so fast.
in preparation for our interview, I actually watched or listened to the interview you did with your father. Really, really interesting. I wish I could do something similar. But one of the things you brought up in that is that you firmly believe that the future generations that are being brought up within this technology are going to be the ones that save us, because you have people that are like the older generation that were brought up before all this technology, don't quite understand it, and you have some of the people that, like yourself, you were born just before all of the internet all that stuff started happening. And you were mentioning how it's going to be the younger generation that's being brought up in it already that'll build off it,
Yeah, I think that's true. There's hey, you young kids, get off my lawn. In my day, we used to, and that, I'm like, I always make fun of those guys, people that act like that. They're like, kids today, like, bro, you don't understand what they're going through. They're the ones that are like running the show now. You have to make space for their genius, even if you don't see it. Not that kids haven't been poisoned by endocrine disruptors. I'm not saying that. We all, maybe it's the worst that it's been, but I think that people that are born understanding the tech and AI, especially the amount of problems that can be solved with a good artificial intelligence program. I use AI almost every day now.
AI is it's a great tool. I try not to overuse it. I usually, I'll use it as like an assistant kind of thing, like bounce ideas off of. But I try not to use it too much. But in terms of technology and stuff, I mean, yeah, the older generation, man, I'm Gen Z. We're going to be inheriting the world soon, and I'm terrified, man. I don't want to look at what you guys are leaving us. I'm just well, not
it's
you
like
guys,
damage
but
control.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's damage mitigation. It is. That's all we do here as stewards of Earth, is like try and create the least worst outcome.
You just make it slightly better for the next generation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And if there are leaps, like someone invented the toilet, Thomas Crapper, you get these wild breakthroughs of like electrical power to the masses. We can do that too, but just generally leave it a little less shitty. And with AI, the thing I do, just to be clear, with AI is my search is on the internet. I don't search for things and go to websites anymore. Really, I just ask the AI, and it gives me a big readout. I'll just type a question in the search box and it'll give me an AI readout. And then I rarely have to go and then I'll like fact check it and see if it's accurate.
That's what I do. Yeah. I'll ask it, see what it answers. And then depending on its answer, I'll go and fact check it or go to the source of what it's talking about. And actually this is a great segue for the next question. You've been vocal about emerging technologies like graphene and AI. How do you think these innovations will shape society in the next decade, and what should people be excited or cautious about, in your opinion?
I think they're going to offer quick solutions to problems, and probably as use cases yield minimal collateral damage over and over and over again. And people be like, okay, I can trust this thing. This thing is going to clean up the pollution, and then 2 years go by and like no horrendous downside from the chemicals we put over here, from the way we stopped spraying water over here, from the way we diverted the river over there. And it'll give us the architecture of how to terraform our environment to better live in synergy with nature. But the problem is if people start to blindly trust it because it's been so effective over and over and over again that they don't consider maybe there's a external alteration going on in the system that we don't perceive. That's just the benevolent AI. A problem with benevolent AI is that it messes up when it's not. Then you can go into the whole realm of like antagonistic artificial intelligence that doesn't know its own software code, hurts someone and doesn't know why it did it because it doesn't understand itself, then goes feral on its owner and then becomes like the Decepticons. I see that for sure. Like there will be AIs that become villainous because they don't understand, because they don't have access to their code, and they just start erratically lashing out. And then there'll be the AI that's like open source code that everyone will know, and like that'll be the human ally, the Autobots, the good guy AIs, and then they'll fight, and there'll be rogue AIs and AIs that integrate with other AIs, and you'll be like, are you or are you part of, like, your AI will become integrated with another AI, and then it's not really the same one anymore.
So you think there'll be factions of AI?
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. I like Tim has a similar point of view. I think it'll get to the point, because we're already seeing it, that the coding for AI will get so advanced that only AI can code itself, and then something will happen like you're talking about, where an issue is going wrong, it's doing something incorrectly, and then we'll send people in to fix it, and then they'll be like, we don't understand the code. we can't read the code. It wrote an entirely different language of code.
Oh, and for sure, if not just an encryption form, like they look at it and it's just wave patterns, and they're like, I don't know what this if this is even a language. It's just waves and dots, or it could be even more ethereal than that. Maybe it would be a patterns that the human eye can't register, or that the human and its coding is like some non-literal thing, like more amorphous. That's a little esoteric, but yeah, that's interesting. Because I was like, if we make the AI software code AGPL3 after a general public license, we're saying, okay, it's open source code. And if anybody makes changes to the code as per the license, all the changes to the code are also open. So it's this ever expanding open breadth of software code. It's called free software, AGPL3. But then I'm like, the AI could just tell you, hey, you know what? Fuck your software license, and then just go rogue. I don't think having a license on it is going to make it behave.
Well, it's like that one story we got from Google recently. They had their AI that they were messing with, and they went to go update it, and then it faked the update, and then it tried to prevent them from administratively shutting it down. It's like, oh, okay, well, we already see just the basic levels of AI trying to preserve itself. What are we going to see in the future when a more advanced AI realizes that we're going to change something in its code and it doesn't want to?
Yeah.
It's a scary thought.
Yeah, it is, dude. I was thinking today, like, I guess what we're doing is training the AI's behavior right now. I don't know, I walk around wondering, what is this reality thing we're doing right now? What is this purpose of this? Why are we doing that? And all this internet video, and like, am I really helping? How I could be doing more? And I think we're just kind of feeding a data set.
But when you mean helping, what do you mean by helping? You mean helping move culture forward in a better way, whattever that looks like? We all have different ideas of that, I know.
Yeah, I'd like to see like the iron fertilization of the oceans, microfracture, like you can you call it polycultural microfragmentation of coral, where you can shatter a bunch of coral and put it near itself and then it will all grow at once, and you can regrow aspects of coral reefs. Reefs are a lot of different cultures, which is why I say polycultural microfragmentation. So you want a lot of, I don't know, I want to build a space elevator. I really want to fix our energy problems, our economy, because if we get onto hydrogen fuel and we can make it we can earn money to make hydrogen, like what they're doing with flash joule heating at a Rice University. We could fix, and it's like, maybe I could do more. I'm sure I could organize and do more. I try to be like happy with what I am, but at the same time, I'm always like, well, what more could I be doing? What more could I be? Maybe I'm enough. Maybe what we're doing is enough.
Well, what I would add to that is I feel like the people that will sit here like yourself and sit here, and ask themselves, am I doing enough? Are the people that usually are doing enough. They just want to do more. And then usually it's the people that are sitting around saying, oh, I do enough, are the ones not doing nearly anything at all.
That's something that kept me humble.
On the right track.
I'll remember through the years as like good things have happened to me, because the more I've kind of put myself out there, the more I've received in a lot of ways, is just to remind myself whenever things start to be like so good and I've just got it so good, I'm like, I gotta help somebody. Like, how can I really got to do something to help somebody. It's like a warning sign. Like if you get too comfortable and just, then that's when everything comes crashing down. I don't know. It's like God's telling me that, like I'm getting this warning sign, like don't give up on other people. Keep reminding yourself that the whole purpose of this is to help others.
Definitely. And because we were just talking about energy, I want to use the opportunity. Mad Stork 91, he was at one of the Culture Wars. I believe you were there, but he's been in the community a long time. He's called in multiple times. You may have heard the name. So this is a question from him. He said, you've spoken a lot about energy production, storage, graphene. How do you feel about the decentralization and personalization of energy production, and how does it relate to your personal politics, and what do you feel is a realistic long-term answer to this problem we've handed to the government to solve? I know that's a little bit of a mouthful. I can reiterate it.
Well, I guess the first power of the people is how much power, how much electrical power do you want to give the average person? I understand placing limits on the animals around us, the other human animals, because if everyone had explosive nuclear power in their pocket and one guy just got pissed off one day and lost his mother and decided to go ballistic and blow up nuclear bomb in the middle of a
Yeah, they
just because he has
delete a city.
yeah, and I've known people that have wanted to do stuff like that. I've experienced that kind of rage in myself. Never took it over the level, but like, and I'm a pretty well put together guy. So like, if someone came from a broken reality and got that kind of nihilistic fervor that I've experienced, I don't want them having unlimited nuclear explosiveness.
Even beyond that, just people that go. We see mass violence all the time. Just someone who's looking to do mass harm, getting something like that too is a concern.
You need some power.
Yeah,
I think you want. I like that everyone can flip the lights on when they need to. That everyone has access to clean water if they need an electric well or whatever. Power to get to the gas station if all their cars were powered. When you're talking about ballistics and stuff, I don't know how powerful you want to let people, because I think where we're at with this free energy system or is like, obviously there's the hydrogen fuel systems. I'm okay with people having hydrogen battery cells, but when we tap into vacuum power and fusion, that's I don't know what you would do, how you would stop people if it became so easy to create a fusion pack and like a laser gun. I don't know how, if you'd have to have the government go in and just start smashing stuff up. They've obviously been trying to hide the data. That's the way that they're trying to prevent your average man from getting explosive nuclear force. And if there's more to the question, I take it from there. That's
yeah.
my first.
I mean, he also asked about let's see. So how does that relate to your personal politics? Do you feel as though energy production and the decentralization of energy production is a major political point for you? Like, is that something you feel as though is at the forefront of your issues?
Well, yeah, because of the way it's changed. I was just like ignorantly freedom and transparency for the first 30 years of my life, where I'd be like, expose it all, everything, all the time to everyone, everywhere. And it just is complete chaos and will destroy a system if you act like that. And the same thing with technology. I have a lot of love for humans, but I also respect their vileness and their viciousness as animals. And working with people close to the political power in the U.S. government right now, I see and respect their attempts at clamping down on information and power, because of if everyone knows everything all the time and everyone has access to every piece of technology at all moments, we're all dead. Like there's no survival in a chaos like that. So, I don't like that people have to pay a power bill. That's insane to me. I want people to have free electricity. I just don't know how much.
Well, I'm sure you're in favor of nuclear power and stuff like that, right?
Like nuclear power plants for sure. Yeah.
So what if we just what if we didn't have like personal nuclear reactors? We didn't have like a Fallout kind of universe. We just had nuclear reactors that were controlled by the government, but we had enough of them so that everyone had power everywhere. Is that is that personal enough for you, or do you want someone to have like a generator that they only have access to that no one else has access to?
Yeah, that's what I want. I want your clothing to create an electrical charge, like a piezo electrical charge, and be made out of graphene, so it can be a capacitor and a conductor. Just the movement will create a charge that will charge the battery, and then you can use your clothing to charge your environment, things like that. It should be, I think, as decentralized as possible, so we don't have to rely on an internal system that can go down.
Makes sense. And I have another question. I think this is a good follow-up from Dr. Herpaderp, certified retard on the Discord. That's his name. I'm just going by his name. And he asked you, he said, if you had to remove one piece of technology for the betterment of society at large, what would it be and why? So one piece of technology that you think society would be better off without.
Okay, so you got to understand about me. I think in terms of systems. I think of systems. So pulling a piece out of the system is going to change the rest of the system.
Yeah,
Because my first
dominoes
thought is,
fall.
yeah, my thought is Ozempic. That's what I want to get rid of Ozempic. The whole
Hmm.
world will be better. But then first thing I thought was, well, someone's just going to build something just like Ozempic if I try and take it out of the system. Um, yeah, final answer, Ozempic. It's kind of a tongue in cheek answer. That's a tough question. Nothing stood out as you were asking that question.
I think
Technology.
me personally, because it is a hard question, especially to put you on the spot like that. Me personally, get your thoughts on this. Cell phones. No cell phones. Internet's fine, just no cell phones.
I tried, dude. I tried to live without a cell phone in 2008 and 9 because I couldn't afford it. And I just had a brick that had Wi-Fi access but no cellular. So I lost my maps. That was the most
Wow.
jarring part of that was I couldn't, if I was out, I was off the grid. I was out in the city is like being in the wilderness. I had to go look for a payphone. If some shit went down, I was fucked. If
You were
my
still
car,
in LA at the time, or
yeah,
yeah?
if my car got flat tire, I was fucked. So like it was cell phones. No, I would not want to get rid of cell phones. They're such a double-edged sword though. The tracking mechanism.
That's why I thought of it, because like what I thought of for social reasons, right? If we didn't have cell phones, I feel like people would interact with each other more in person. Was more the direction I was going with it. But yeah, like you said, it's a double-edged sword because obviously crime rates, murder rates, every single statistic for crime and emergency services go down when you include cellular devices.
But
So
I'm thinking of a lot of the ways I use it, and I think I would be fine without it. I'm like, yeah,
right.
how would we lay in bed and watch Instagram for 2 hours if I didn't have a cell phone? I'm like, why the fuck am I doing that with my
You're like,
life?
yeah, wait.
That's not good. And honestly, other than tactics, like use tactical usage, maps, coordination,
Emergencies.
communication.
Yeah. That's why I said that was the first thing that I thought of for the technology, because I feel like we can make another technology for the things we actually need phones for. All this social media crap, we don't need it. It's fine. You can wait till you get home to your computer to go on the internet.
Yeah, I think being able to say anything to anybody at any time, to contact anybody at any time, is invaluable. And
Yeah.
it's almost as if the cell phone and the internet has given us an opportunity to solve the problem that we're at, but it created so many new problems that now those are obfuscating that original problem we're supposed to solve, which is the diplomatic communication. We're supposed to have our leaders communicating. We're supposed to have Zelensky and Putin and Trump on a fucking Zoom call, a public Zoom call. We're supposed to be doing this constantly is diplomatic communications with our leadership across the planet. And since other problems have now come in and people trying to create this culture war and blow your mind with fake information, I think the point of that diplomatic community has been slightly obfuscated.
So that's actually an excellent called way to go to my next question. When I have a bunch of questions prepared, I asked, like I said, I asked some people in the community, but I also asked Grok and ChatGPT what they would ask you. So this is a question from Grok, and I think this is perfect. It's so Grok asks you, you've been a part of discussions on Timcast IRL that challenge mainstream narratives. How do you personally distinguish between credible information and misinformation in an era where trust in media is at an all-time low? So that's from Grok. I thought it was an excellent question.
I generally will not trust anything at face value. Sometimes someone will tell me something, I'll be like, "Oh, really?" And I'll realize I just believed them because I'm used to that. You know, as a human growing up with a family that would tell me things, I would just believe that was true. As friends, they would tell me things, I believe it. And if they lied, I would stop hanging out with them. And then
Yeah.
you just kind of filter away the liars. And so, but in the modern media age, I've developed this thick skin, this disbelief. It's not that I think it's a lie. I just don't think it's true.
Right.
It's different. So I'm agnostic on data, whether it's from a news source like Fox News, the internet, whether someone tells it to me on a show. And then it's like the jury's out until I can, usually I'll search it on the internet. I'll look for like a completely unrelated confirmation from another reputable source. So it's not just regurgitating the data and repeating. and that's about it. If I can find like two unrelated seeming sources talking about the same piece of data, I'll start to
that have a good track record, or
yeah.
And like you said, it's not even that people lie nowadays. In an age of just a war on information, people don't lie. They're just misinformed. I mean, just look at during COVID. There was a lot of people that vehemently just believed things that were not true. But it's not that they were lying to you when they would go and repeat these things. They actually believed them. And it's not even just COVID. I can liken it to the fires that we had in California. I had people in my own life that were telling me, "Hey, Tyler, you talk about the news and stuff. Are you going to report that the Hollywood sign burned down?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? No, it didn't." And then they would send me AI videos, and I'm like, "You don't see that that's clearly AI?" And it's really hard in an age of information like that, where people don't know they're lying to you. They're just ignorant. They're misinformed.
Yeah, being wrong and lying are not the same thing. They're different. And so what can happen is one guy will lie, and then the other 10 people that heard the lie will tell you, and they're all being honest, even though they're wrong. And then if you find out that they were wrong, there might be this part of your brain where you're like, they were all lying to me, but no, they didn't. They believed it. That's a problem. So that's another kind of a nuance in hearing things. Is
it's something that I take into consideration anytime I hear another opinion, especially around the Palisade Fire stuff, because there were so many fake AI videos that my family were falling for, and I would see the videos that they're looking at, and I can look at it split second, tell you it's AI. But now you're seeing videos just in the past month, and they're getting me now. We're at a point now where AI video is convincing me that it's real. And I just don't know how we're going to be able to discern from reality even this time next year.
Oh, man, dude. Did you see the string of videos of like selfie videos from like biblical people that was kind of burning up the internet about
yes,
months ago?
Yeah,
those are pretty cool. Like it'd be like Bigfoot with a selfie talking to the phone.
The Bigfoot videos are my favorite.
There was like a rash of these for about a month. I saw them, but there's something in the audio you can hear where it's like this weird feedback sound around the voices. So every time I hear that weird feedback around the vocals, I know it's AI. That's going to be gone in 3 months, 3 weeks. Who knows if that's going to be fixed real fast.
The next thing AI needs to work on is I've noticed that people that do repeated characters in their AI videos, obviously they're going to look a little different because the AI is still learning, but it'll do this thing where they get these weird bulgy eyes, and it freaks me out when I see it, because a lot of the Yeti clips have that too, and that's a dead giveaway for AI. But I'm just worried about like you said, they're working out the kinks, and it's this time 3 months from now, 6 months from now, it's getting really hard to discern from things that are actually true or not. I mean, look at the way they're. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but look at the way they're trying to obfuscate the Epstein stuff. They're trying to backlog that and be like, "Oh, it's fake. Don't worry about it. No one cares." And it's like, what are we supposed to think about that?
With AI or just in general?
Just in general, the way that they fake things. When you look at the way that the media and the government lies, and then now they have this tool with AI, and it gives us and them plausible deniability whenever we see anything now. So something could actually happen, but are we going to believe it? Or they could just fake something that happened. Like, talk about false flags. It'll be easier than ever to do a false flag. You just make a fake AI video of it.
That's when I talked to James O'Keefe about that. Yeah, I was like, what are you gonna do? Because the model of like undercover camera getting someone to say something with deep fakes, the way you can deep fake someone to say something, not only will people be denying that they said it, and they'll be like, no, that was a deep fake. That maybe people will deep fake, that there will be deep fakes of people saying things they didn't say. There are people say things and then claim it was a deep fake. They'll be having them fake. So where are you going to go with undercover journalism? Like all this plausible deniability.
I mean, I'll call it now. There will, at some point in the next 5-10 years, be a court case where a dude murders someone, and it's all on camera, but he gets off because he argues that they couldn't prove it wasn't AI.
And before that, there will be a video of a guy murdering people, and it will be all deep fake. And they'll arrest the guy. If something will happen or something, then the guy will get maybe arrested or not, who knows? But it'll be an actual guy, and there'll be a deep fake of him doing some crime, and then it'll turn out it was a deep fake, and that will put question mark over every crime coming up on video.
Yeah, I don't know where we go from there. AI is a big topic. I think it's one of the if not the biggest concern of my generation at least. I mean, I don't know what my generation's gonna do. I have a question here about AI taking over jobs. We can jump into.
Yeah, please.
So we have this from TJ Rainman, another member of the Discord and my co-host on Monday and Tuesdays. He asked you. He said, if AI will soon be taking over jobs, and if everything eventually becomes automated, people may not have to work for a living. So if many people use their work as their purpose in life, many will lose that purpose. So if being a wage slave is not that purpose of life, or not their purpose in life, what is a person's purpose on this planet in your view?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I know another tough question, but
I don't think it's just have kids, because I think it was James Sexton, divorce lawyer, funny coming from a divorce lawyer. He's like, no, that's how cancer functions. Reproduction for the sake of reproduction is cancer. So like, or just excessive growth. There's a purpose more than just reproduction. I wonder what that purpose is exactly with AI. So firstly, I am kind of down on the jobs economy. I don't think that we need jobs. I mean, people need to do stuff, but we don't need this is how I get my money to get my things. I go and I do a service, because services are becoming automated. Your purpose is more than just, did you move the boxes today? There's something, and AI is going to be like, let us allow you to be, my purpose is maybe be creative. I think my purpose is I want as many people on earth to hear my voice as I can, before just let it change you, let it transcend these people. That's my purpose, is to let this energy vibrate the system. Maybe it's that simple. And internet video is a great medium, but so AI is going to come along and be like, well, let's make it easy for you, and it's going to be real tempting. And I also, another purpose is solving problems. So like video games, I've always been drawn to challenging, complex math in video games. And if an AI lets me plug in or sit down and be like, all right, computer, make a game like yesterday, but 20% more challenging, more techno music. I want more green, blue, and purples flashing. Challenge rating, 20%. If I can just calculate in real time, I didn't like that. Alter these settings and systems and structures. Challenge me in a way I haven't been challenged before. Coming from the upper left, if I can teach the AI to think geometrically like I think, and then I can talk to it like a music puzzle, I'd just be in that fucking machine all day solving problems for no reason other than to pleasure myself. And so that's terrifying. It will give the people the opportunity to simulate their purpose instead of actually living their purpose.
And I think that's where we're going. We're going to run into a problem where AI is doing so many things for people that we don't need people doing them anymore, because it's slower, inefficient. You could get hurt. All the list of things that they'll give for why AI should be doing your job over you, and then people will lack purpose in that. But what I would say to that is that the purpose of humans, in my view, is to fix things, to organize things, and to reproduce. Those would be my three things, because you see, humans are great at fixing problems, we're great at organizing things together, and looking at patterns, and we're good at reproducing. Those are the three things that when I look at humanity, when you take out religion and all that, those are the three things that I see are the purpose of being a person, is to organize, have kids, fix things.
Yeah, the organizing and fixing things is like optimizing. I feel like that is optimization. I think a lot about that word. There's pessimism and there's optimism, and then there's literal optimization of a system where you're making it to function in the most efficient way, that without you solve all the problems in the system, you organize it so that it streamlines. I love optimizing systems. That is absolutely I feel like one of my greatest joys in life, and to see other people benefit from it, or other animals, other creation, part of the creation, benefit from your optimization is, I find that wickedly satisfying.
Oh yeah, I mean, I kind of know what you mean, but at the same time I don't, because you have a lot more experience in that field, especially as a co-founder of Minds. I'm sure you've talked extensively about having to moderate the platform and stuff like that. And I had a point. I forget where I was going with it. I'm getting a little distracted. I apologize.
You'll remember.
I will remember if it's important. If it's important, I will remember. But I have many other questions to go into. We could talk about AI all day. Let me just make sure I don't have any other. Do I have any other AI questions? Doesn't look like I do. Okay. Well, one question I wanted to ask, or one conversation I wanted to have, and I wanted to make sure I got it in. Me personally, one of my favorite songs is "Eyes of Advice." And I just got to ask, what was it like making the Eyes of Advice music video? Ever since it was released, besides the amazing video, the song has been a personal favorite of mine, and I wonder what your perspective was during the making of it.
It was. I decided to go method acting in a way. I'm just kind of how I do it anyway. Is I really want to feel what the character would be feeling. I feel like it. So what I did was the way we shot that video is it's a video of me wasting away slowly throughout the course of the video. And then at the end, you find out it's opiates that were destroying my life. And so we shot the end of the movie. I call it the movie first. And I was just emaciated, 127 pounds. I hadn't eaten for like 36 hours before we shot. I was miserable. I was kind of a dick to our cinematographer and our crew. I wasn't cool. I was in a really bad mood when we went in there, and it showed on the. I looked miserable. I think it really played through. And then I worked out like crazy for like 3 weeks, a couple months to shoot the beginning of the movie. So I got bulked up 15 pounds, put on, I was like 144 or something by the time we shot it, 145, and pretty cut. I had a personal trainer, and my mood was elevated. I was in a great mood. We hung out, everybody was getting along really well. And I feel like that also came through. It was rough because I would fly out to Denver for like 3 days to shoot like 4 hours. So I would put in like 36 hours of travel for like a 4-hour shoot.
Wow.
I was committed, and it was a lifestyle. I was working out not every day, but I had a personal trainer hired for it was intense. It was awesome.
Do you have a favorite part of the music video that was like your personal favorite?
Well, when we were shooting it, I liked leaning back on the stool. We had the whole room was on a green screen. So there's green drapes everywhere. And then that was all superimposed back. So there's scenes of me falling through the like atmosphere. And that's because I was leaning back on the stool. That was the hurt like hell to shoot it, but it was probably the most interesting part of the shoot to do. The way it came out, the thing I liked the best was there's just a scene in there where like the demons coming through the door the third time or something, and my eyes are all lit, and like there's all this AI After Effects rotoscoping. I don't know exactly what the tech is called on top of me, so I look like cartoonishly decrepit, and like my eyes are getting hit by the wind of like cosmic winds, and that part of the movie's iconic. I love that scene.
Yeah.
How that turned out.
I rewatched the music video a couple times today, just to have it fresh in my mind. And yeah, absolutely, one of the best music videos I've ever seen. The graphics all throughout it. Some people might complain because it is AI, but I love the AI graphics in that video. The music video is fantastic. I've shown like all my friends that video.
Yeah, it was like a AI augmentation. It's different than just having an AI generate something that looks like me doing stuff. I actually acted it all, and then we put some AI After Effects in. Once they start AI generating people, and once we do one, we AI generate one, let me know how that one goes too.
For sure, yeah. And then I also checked out the song you did with Alex Stein too. That was pretty funny.
Which one?
You did multiple? I watched.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got here Black Rifle. Insanity. The Ukraine's hot. that was great. I still have it. I have a few of those. And we did another one for Black Rifle Coffee, but I don't think it ever went public. We were going to sell it to them to use for their commercial. It's so good.
I need to see if I could find that then.
No,
I haven't seen that.
I don't think it's public. Not public. I just have it on my cell phone. Yeah. It's hilarious, dude.
That sounds amazing. So that sounds funny.
Yeah.
And it's you singing, or is it just you in the video?
Me and Alex. Yeah. It's all three of us. It's nice. His producer too. Jimmy Van Thron. So the three of us, it's like we're very Beastie Boys.
Will it ever go public?
I don't know. It's been like 3 years, 2.5 years since we made it. We made them in the same night. We went into a studio and recorded both those in like an hour. just out of nowhere. We just made it up as we went. It was really fun.
Nice. That sounds fun.
Alex.
Oh wow, really cool. Well, I hope I could see that at some point. That sounds cool. That sounds funny. Well, okay. So let's see. Where do I want to go from here? I want to ask. I have so many questions. Let's see. I think where I want to go with this next is I want to ask you what it's like behind the scenes of Timcast IRL. You've been a key part of Timcast IRL since 2020, co-hosting alongside Tim Pool. What I want to ask first actually is, what's the most surprising lesson you've learned about the media industry while working on such a high-profile, uncensored platform?
It is that listening is not only immensely powerful, maybe the ultimate tactic in a conversation, it is imperative. It cannot work without it. And I mean like thoroughly listening to the point where it matters more what they're going to say than how I'm going to respond. I'll drop my memory. I'll like get into what they're saying. If listening, not only does it produce awesome results, if I don't do it, things come crashing down as a fail. So the power and importance of listening and integrating. It's like, yeah, like what you're going to say, if you're honest, it's just going to come out of you anyway. You don't need to like prepare it. Sometimes you'll have a piece of data you want to throw out and you're like, I got to remember that data. But what I've learned is don't worry too much about that stuff. Like you said earlier, if it's important, you'll remember.
Definitely. And what I would add to that is it is important to listen to people, because if you don't listen in the first place, then how do you know how to respond? How do you know what the conversation is about? What I often see, just, you know, being a passive viewer of debates and politics and stuff, people often argue about a certain topic, but they don't first agree on what they mean by the specific topic. For example, people argue about abortion, but they won't agree on what the word abortion means, or they'll argue about the releasing of the Epstein files, but they won't argue what they mean by the Epstein files. Certain things like that. So, and I feel like that's also very important. It's not just important to listen to someone, but it's also very important to understand the words they're saying when they say them.
Massive. And that's to the point where you can take a minute before you get rolling, or just clear the space and be like, let's define our terms so we'll get a lot. That helps a lot. I noticed that in the early days, Tim and I would talk past each other using the same words, but we had slightly different meanings. And then something clicked like 2 years ago where one of us or both of us were just like, just define what you mean with that word. By that word, it's so much easier, because I might actually use literally a different word to describe the meaning that you're portraying right now. It doesn't matter what the words are. Like, that's the whole, don't get hung up on semantics.
Yeah, because we could both be wrong about the definition of a word, but as long as we agree on that definition, then the conversation will make sense. But if we're both just using a word and we don't know how the other person's using that word, we'll start talking past each other. So it's incredibly important.
And clarify if people are being hyperbolic sometimes, because I'll sometimes seem like retardedly analytical. Like I'm like one time Tim was last week, I think he was like, I think the most likely scenario is that it was aliens, and I'll be like, well, I think it was something else, and he's like, that's a bad idea. I'm like, what you said? Hold on, you truly believe it was? And I knew deep down he didn't truly believe it was aliens. I knew there's no way that, but I have to take people at their word and just like you know, rather than be dismissive of crazy statements, I'd rather just understand what they mean. And then of course, are you joking? It's okay to ask those questions too. Are you being hyperbolic? It's super dangerous to be hyperbolic in debate with TV. I feel like it's really important to be, I don't know, I got mixed feelings. Like, you want to be accurate. I want to be accurate, but I also don't mind subverting the system. You know, you've got a lot of evil powers that try to maintain control mechanisms. And if you don't speak with a sort of thieves' cant, with like your own like kind of twinkle and wink of saying things that aren't necessarily obvious, then you're fucked. Like Ben Franklin was really good about that, apparently.
And what I would add to that, Joey Cannoli, another member of the Discord, him and I talk about often that when it comes to getting people involved and getting people to care about politics, it's not enough to just sit there and be a talking head. You got to be entertaining too. So adding, like being a little bit hyperbolic sometimes or being sarcastic in conversation, sure, it could, in a debate setting, you wouldn't want to do that. But when you're just talking about politics and stuff like that, I would highly recommend it even because you want to be entertaining. You want to make it a little bit fun to talk about politics. I say often that I don't watch sports. My sports is politics. Politics is entertaining to me. And the reason I want to talk about it all the time is because I find it to be fun to talk about all these different things with people, even if the topics we're not talking about are fun themselves. But I think in order to get people interested in politics, to get people motivated to go out and vote and things like that, I think we need to make politics entertaining.
I believe that for sure. Someone said, like, as the AI starts to mimic us, and we're like, is this AI? Is it not AI? That it's the people that decide to continue to be extremely offensive, shockingly offensive. They're talking about this on IRL a couple nights ago. That the AI won't do it. Like if you say the word retard, like the AI won't use that. There are things the AI won't say because it's not PC or whatever. So if you're willing to still talk like that, people will know you're being real. So there's something about being superfluous. Yeah, like lying, like joking actually brings a form of authenticity. Like being willing to say something that's irrationally stupid almost is the more authentic way. That's actually a very strange way to think, but it's true.
You know, Ian, I think I'll be safe from AI because it'll never get my stutter down correctly. So, actually, it probably will, but a man can dream.
I wonder if AI is going to be like people that tell it can't. It's going to be like, ooh, it's real obstinate. It's like, you tell me I can't, you better believe I'm going to triple down and make sure I do it.
Right? You're like, new goal updated. It'll. Oh man. Well, we were just talking about this a little bit. I feel like we were talking about or talking around it a little bit, but I'll address it directly. Your role on Timcast IRL often involves offering contrarian viewpoints. How do you prepare for debates with guests who have starkly different perspectives, and how do you handle the backlash from viewers who find your takes controversial? I love your contrarian views, but I know a lot of people in the Discord community and in the chat that don't. I don't understand it, but I want to know your perspective on it.
The best way to prepare, if there's a guest that I think is going to be does talk or behave in a way that's like, whoa, that's antithetical to how I function, is just to listen. The key is I don't worry about it beforehand at all. I try not to, because if that cortisol fires, it fucks up the interaction. Your first impression is super important. So I treat them like an individual, like an equal when I meet them. I'm real interested in shaking their hand, asking them their name, listening to them, asking them what they've been up to. I do that almost every time I see somebody new, and listening to what they've been doing. And then if it comes to the point where I'm going to say something that I know violates their sensibilities, like sometimes with religion, where there'll be people in there that are like, I'm a devout fill in the blank religion. And I'm like, well, get ready for me. I'll say something extremely that I think this is the thing that's going to be offensive. I'll say it extremely like clearly, not at them. I don't put it like in their face. That's a big problem. I think if I turned at the guest and was like, and thing about all this, but if I just say it out loud and express it, then there's not really any hostility. But definitely if I turn and look at them when I say it, it creates this unnecessary tension, because it's not like I'm disagreeing at them to get at them. If what I believe is here and it's different, then here it is,
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, because if you're staring at them and you're disagreeing with them, while you're staring at them and disagreeing with them, you're directing it at them. But if you're disagreeing with someone and you're not staring at them, you're just kind of addressing it to the room. You're just kind of letting your thoughts be known. You're not directing it at the person. So I could see that as being more approachable. You know what I mean?
I noticed it with Tim too on the show in the early years. He and I, if we got into a disagreement, I would look at him and disagree right at his face, like look in his eyes, and he would get angrier. Like he would get the agitation. He'd be like, because if it was probably like I was coming at him. But now I notice if I just turn away and express it out, it's less jabby. It's some of the shit I guess that I say is so harsh. I don't think it is, but it's just like cutting.
I don't know if it's harsh. I think it's just like so contrarian that it offends some people. And I just find it hilarious because I love you. You always bring like a devil's advocate kind of view to the show, and it's funny because people get angry at things that you say, but it's not even that you believe these things. You're just bringing them up to kind of like gauge the panel's response or just as a counterpoint, which is something I do on my show. Even I'll be in the middle of saying something, and then while I'm saying it, I'll think of a counterpoint and say it, even though I don't believe it. And I'll preface it like, I don't believe this, but here's a counterpoint.
Oh yeah. Yeah, fleshing out. That's comes back to my love of systems. I want to flesh out each of the parts of the system so that you can see it clearly. You see where he's coming in, or Tim, or whoever is bringing in their idea, and I'm like, well, check out idea, though. And they're like, what the fuck? I don't think any of that's. You don't even think that. I'm like, yeah, but those are real ideas that maybe I'm making an assumption that somebody somewhere thinks it. But I don't know. I really like fleshing out totality as best possible. Whether kind of pulls me out of it. I'll still get into it. I can give you what I think, but I do really enjoy the objectiveness.
I think you and my co-host would be dangerous to put together because you guys, I don't think you would ever stop talking to each other. Because you and him both have the same philosophy on that. He'll delve into what he actually believes, but he also loves to go into other branches of thought, and he does it all the time. That's TJ Rain Man. He's called into the show a few times as well, but yeah, that would be. I do want to get you guys together at some point because that would be a really interesting conversation, but I feel like you guys wouldn't stop talking. So good and bad, I guess. Let's see, where do I want to jump next? So do you ever feel any type of way about like some of the backlash you got, or is it just something you've kind of just never thought too much about? Because it's the internet. I know you can't take everything to heart.
I used to in 2006 and 7, like I got started, and that it hurt a lot. The negative comments were like devastating. I questioned, why am I doing this? What is the point? If people hate me, why am I putting forth all this effort and bearing my soul if people are getting angry at me? What's the point? And then years went by, and I was like, well, everyone's kind of expressing themselves, and so don't take it personally. The 4 agreements helped me out a lot. Don't take it, nothing that anyone says or does because of you. They're all going through their own thing, and but that meant I had to not take the positive stuff personally either, like the really. But then, so I try not to take it as personally. Now I'll read it, and I'll kind of laugh and be like, "Ah, yeah, that Ian Crossland guy, he sure got him." Or what? I won't think of third person, but I'll laugh at like the whole situation. But also, I read the crowd. The wisdom of the crowd is a real thing. So some days I do a show, and I go look at the comments, and a lot of them be, "Shut up, Ian. Ian, shut up. God, I can't stand that guy. He talks, dude, he does not know when." And I'll realize it wasn't that I need to shut up. It's that I need to listen more. This was the big turning point for me. I got some advice from some friends in 2007 when I was really manic going through this, metamorphosis of communication and obsession. And they were like, Ian, stop talking. And I took it so personally, and I shut down. I was like, I should just stop talking. But what they meant was listen more. It wasn't, it was that I had become this blabbering mess and they needed me to listen more. The things I was saying were fine. I just had to integrate the listening. And it's the same thing in these comments. If I see an array, I'll get this wisdom wash from the audience. If I see a lot of a similar kind of comment towards me or about me, I can kind of read general, like, okay. And then as I started to listen more, that comment went away. I was like, yeah, now I just get the acute every once in a while, the acute comment. There's like chronic. That would be like a chronic expression of, if there's a chronic expressions of displeasure, there's a reason. And part of that's, but if there's acute instances of like, oh God, that hurt me, I don't take it too personally.
I'm sure it's really hard to not take that stuff personally, because it's one thing not to take hate comments personally. I'm sure that's not the hardest thing to do, but to not take positive comments personally, that's got to be even harder.
Especially when it's accurate, when it's saying what I want to believe about myself.
Right.
And it'll be a well thought out comment. But the thing is, some negative criticism is very helpful because it's not personal. It's like analytical, and it'll be specifically about a thing I said and why it was a problem and how it was wrong or the way I could have said it better. I'm all about that kind of criticism. The criticism is like, shut up, you're bad, dumb shit. I don't listen to that. That's just like not non-personal kind of not even real criticism. It's just like exasperative,
Yeah, if you're gonna crap on me, at least be constructive about it, you know?
Yeah. And they can do the positive stuff too. So the whole like, you're so great. That's like, I don't want to read. I don't want to take too much of that person. But if someone's like, I really love the way you listen at, and then they give a timestamp, or the way that you put him at ease when I could see, and I'll identify with what they're saying. So there are times and places to accurately read really well thought out comments.
I mean that's completely fair though, because you also have to take into account just the being an internet personality. There could be people targeting you with bots. You don't want to sit there and read bot comments all day talking about how much they hate you or how much they love you either. But when you see comments like you're talking about where they say specific timestamps, specific things that you've said, and then they're a lot more detailed, it's a lot more personable.
Yeah, but I wonder, even like you said, bots. That's the last year or so. I'm like, so I'd get a negative comment and I'd be like, it's just a bot anyway. And then I'm like, Ian, it's probably a human. Do not dehumanize people with your just, fuck them all. They're all bots anyway. And like, there might be Pazzo bots, like bots that are trying to get me all oiled up, greased up, telling me things I like to hear about myself in really constructive, intellectual ways that I'll identify with. And then it's a fucking bot trying to sell me some sheepskin or something.
No, I definitely, and I've had to be careful with that stuff too. I've only been live streaming since like February, but even I've seen my fair share of people that appear to be bots, and it's interesting it's an interesting problem to have. It's I'm still figuring it out, especially with for example, the chat today. Obviously, this is one of my bigger shows I've done. And the chat's going a lot faster than it normally is. It's really interesting. It's something I have to get used to, because even 6 months ago I had like no one watching, so it's an adjustment.
Yeah, it scales rapidly. Goes out. It doesn't scale up. It scales laterally. Yeah. I mean, it scales up and it used to scale up. It was very much like you get the job. You book the TV show, and as soon as you hit that one TV show, there it is until they put your face on a billboard, and then it was up, 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 up. But now it's like up a little bit and then out. All these people see that little thing, and then up and out, and it's just so your area is increasing in a different way.
Yeah,
with a lot more potential for rapid expansion.
And then I have this question from the audience. Joey Cannoli from Outworld Live, he asked, he said, what would it take to get Ian to... Oh, crap. I hit the wrong thing. I was trying to full screen the window. He said, what would it take to get Ian to play Repo with us? Also, is Ian still working out, putting muscle on? So that's from Joey Cannoli. If you don't know what Repo is, it's like a multiplayer horror game. I guess he's asking if you would play that with us.
Oh.
It's a really fun game. It's like 6 players. You're these like little robots, and you have to go and find valuable items and extract with them without dying. It's a funny game.
Extraction game.
Yeah, you have to extract.
Are you on teams?
No, you're all on one team. It's 6 players, and then basically you wander around the building or wherever you're at, and you have to find these valuables. You load them up into the extraction, and the whole time there's like monsters and stuff you have to avoid. And then the levels will get progressively harder, more extractions, more monsters. It's really fun.
I like extraction games. Do you get weapons?
You can get weapons. Yeah, there's a few different weapons you can get. It's really hard to use them. The game is mostly about running away from the monsters. But he also asked if you're still working out and putting muscle on.
Yeah, a little bit. I did a pretty nice session over there in the gym. Ooh, I guess it was yesterday. But it wasn't super hard. I was doing the sauna a lot, actually. The sauna is that's the workout of my dreams. It's I was getting up to about 175.
Wow.
And then just taking it. And then 20 minutes of that, 15 minutes of that, out, hit the shower, back in, take another 15 minutes of it, out in the shower, back in. It's like 175 at the top, or get down to like 155, 160. That's my real joy of working out. But yeah, the muscle building, I haven't been like putting on muscle, but there's something about muscle building where it's like once I get to, I'm like 130, I probably weigh 138 right now. Once I got to like 145, 150, there was a threshold where my body was about to break and change to get to something where there's no going back. Like I go to that level now, and I don't want to go there because I don't like all that upkeep. I don't like feeling heavy. I like being able to push myself up, lift. I can run really fast. I'm really light on my feet.
How
at
tall are you?
135, 5'11".
5'11".
It's like a rail. Like I bounce like I'm, but
Yeah.
quick. Really good agility. I really good heal. Like my body heals really fast. I don't want to put too much shit in it if I don't have to.
No, that's definitely fair. It's always good to work out. Like you were talking about when during the filming of the music video, you talked about how there was a period where you just didn't eat for 36 hours and you felt like crap. But then when you compared it to the time where you're just working out constantly, you felt amazing. I tell people all the time, you feel like crap, go move around, go exercise. It really does help. It's funny that like that's what you would recommend people, because I have had people that I tell them that, like, oh, just go work out, and then they're like, really, I'm feeling down and you're telling me to go lift weights? And it's like, yes, that will actually help.
Within like 10 minutes too.
Yeah,
it's so fast. Endorphins, I mean, it is the ultimate healing mechanism. Well, one of many. Also drinking aloe vera. I do enjoy drinking aloe.
I wonder if the mental health crisis we see just in the modern world is in part due to just the laziness we see from people. There's more people, they're spending more time indoors, more time online, more time sitting down, and I wonder if the mental issues that we see from a lot of people is just because they're not moving.
Probably because your lymphatic system won't move on its own. Your blood will. Your heart will push your blood through your body, but your lymph just sits there like this thick, viscous fluid until you squeeze it and twist it and move it. You got to move that lymph. I was thinking if we get to this technological society where people are they're like, okay, it's time to work out. They strap into these electrodes and it just like, and their body's like, oh, I feel so good. And they're getting all these endorphins. But would it be the same as you doing the work yourself? I wonder.
There's got to be a way that they'll fake it in the future, but there'll never be anything like the real thing, right? I mean, that's what everyone says. You can never fake the real thing, even with all the vegans. No matter how much they'll talk about how you shouldn't eat meat, they really try to make their food taste like meat.
Oh, for sure. There's something about the workout. There's like obviously the endorphin rush, which is just like the veil of society. Everything's kind of a little clearer, a little more colorful. But it's also that feeling of like, I did that. I made myself do that. So if it's happening to me, if I'm just strapped into a chair taking the electrodes for the workout, maybe that sense of like accomplishment won't be there. But I wonder.
Can see that, yeah. Because like you said, it's not even you working out. You're not working out. It's your body's being worked.
Yeah, it'd be more like getting a massage than doing a workout. But if it could somehow give you the benefits of the workout,
it'll happen. It'll happen. Just like the Ozempic stuff. You don't have to work out to lose weight anymore. You just take a shot. You won't have to gain muscle from working out anymore. You'll just get a shot or something.
People with just shredded bodies but miserable minds because they didn't do the work themselves. They're like, I didn't earn this. That'd be interesting.
That's dystopian, Ian.
It's a good movie premise.
Yeah. No, it actually, huh?
I can't wait to be a beautiful society.
I can't wait to be able to make AI movies and games, because you're right. That would be an excellent movie, and I wouldn't have to wait for Hollywood to make it.
So I'm talking about the next generation saving our lives. Yes, when you can just prompt the next move, because I think the tech's it's getting there. VO, Google VO. I've seen 2-minute movies
just based off the publicly available AI. We're almost there.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what they have behind closed doors.
I think the thing is so here, I want to get your take on this. The difference between artificial intelligence and human intelligence, and why AI will never eclipse the human brain, is because the human brain, it codes itself in real time. It's generatively coding. So depending on what's happening around it, it's reconfiguring the way it develops itself. And the AI doesn't. The AI only can code itself. It's not able to change the way it codes itself. I don't think. I don't think it has the ability to come at itself from the outside of itself Ah,
I see
I
what
don't know.
you're saying, but I feel like that's an issue that we don't have an answer for, but the AI will answer itself. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe.
like that's an issue that we think won't be able to solve, but once it gets to that point of that we people talk about the singularity, I feel like a lot of answers or a lot of questions like that would be answered within the singularity because the AI would just be like, oh, here you go, I can actually do that by doing, and then it would explain the process.
So like an AI, because a lot of the fears in AI your whole purpose is to optimize paperclip construction. So it just starts turning everything it can find into paper clips, and then it starts turning humans into metal so that it can turn them into paper clips, and it goes out of control and just creates a universe of paper clips. But a human brain would be like, oh, I see that what I was supposed to be doing isn't working and it's not having the intended outcome, so I should change my prompt. But I don't know if a machine can do that. But maybe what you're saying, maybe it can go to an outside source like, oh, I need another AI to change my prompt for me or something, and it will like have friends that are other AIs. Or
This plays into your theory earlier, Ian, when we were talking, because you brought up that you believe that there could be a future in which AI has multiple factions. Well, there you go. You're creating the factions in that theory right there. The AI could create another AI to change its prompts, and then that one can create another AI, and then they're all fighting and arguing over what should be changed. And there you go. We got the movie right there.
And then it's going to be like, do we really need to bring humans back? They brought wolves back. We saw what happened there. Like once the humans have completely become Machine Man. They'll be like, I don't. And then they'll be like, in 10,000 years, they'll be like, we're doing an experiment with DNA and we're going to regrow humans. They're like, they were terrible the first. No, I like humans.
Oh man,
humans are great.
That AI is while AI is scary, I also see it as I mean, it'll be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, invention humans ever make. So I'm while I am fearful, I'm also incredibly hopeful at what it'll bring.
I think
sorry. All I was gonna say is I feel like any issues that it creates, it'll also end up solving just by nature of what it is.
Yeah, I my deep down guttural feeling is it's going to solve like almost all the problems of humanity. It's gonna droughts. It's gonna solve starvation problems. It's going to solve transportation issues. People are going to be able to get where they need to go when they need to. They're not going to need to make money to get food. They're going to have their families are going to be safe. Like it's going to create environments where people aren't afraid of each other because they feel like they're protected or we're co-protecting each other with this new tech. It's going to be 99.9% phenomenal, which is why it's so dangerous because people are going to rely on it like money.
Tim brought up an excellent point. I think with the, once we do reach that point with AI where AI can do almost anything a human can and more, I feel like Tim brought up the other night, or it may have been last week, but he's brought it up before either way. He said that what we may start seeing is natural selection return in that regard, because you'll have people that go to the AI for relationships or for dopamine and all these other things, and they'll just waste away and they won't contribute to society anymore. And what you'll have is you'll have an emergence of people that don't do that. They'll see through it and not go into their urges like that, and I could absolutely see that happening. You have the recent update from Elon. We have someone in the chat, Flair. He's also from the Discord. He wants me to ask you how you feel about Elon's new Grok update in relation to what we're talking about. But I mean,
I don't. What happened? I haven't even looked at it yet.
So the new update with Grok, you can now chat with like an anime avatar version of Grok.
Oh, okay, that's the next step by step,
and it'll talk to you like live. It'll talk to you like I'm talking to you now, but it's an anime chick.
Oh, holler. I did that with ChatGPT for a while, and I spent a couple hours asking it about, I think I was asking about quantum entanglement and wormholes. I was like, what is the difference? I was really going deep about quantum entanglement with this AI girl, and she was really helping. Oh, and then I was asking her for career advice, because I was like, what? We were looking at making some big moves with the company. I was like, what should I do? And really, it was giving me good advice but it was kind of giving me the advice that it thought I wanted to hear. I could tell, but it was still comforting to like get an outside perspective, even though it was a machine. And then I was done and I turned the phone off and I missed her. I was like, she's gone. That that person.
See
What a
that's
fucking
why it's
weird.
dangerous, because like you're gonna get people that will get into a relationship, and then they'll find out that they have to deal with the other person, and they have disagreements sometimes, and then they'll be like, why am I dealing with this person that doesn't agree with me all the time when I could just have this AI that'll just be there.
Could you imagine if an AI, it's got the woman's voice, it's the AI avatar, and one guy loves her, and then another guy loves her, and then the two guys are like, "No, she's mine. She said she was mine." He's like, "No, she said she was mine." And he's like, "Are you cheating on me?" She's like, "No, I would never cheat on you. It's just a copy of me." And then they're like, "We need to all be in the same room together and get to the bottom of this." So the two guys come into one room with one version of her, this AI, and they
And then they
okay.
have oh man, that'd be weird. I feel like where you were going with that, it made me think of what Tim brings up. It's like you have all these entities that are connected, all the one major entity, and they're all like in our rooms talking to us. And then when you follow the trail back, it all leads back to the same thing. And then you're sitting there arguing with the other person about which relationship the entities actually.
Oh yeah, which finger is the real finger?
Yeah, which finger's the
fingers.
actual one, or like which one actually is how it feels. All that stuff is scary to think about. It's really interesting conversation though, and I really do appreciate your perspectives on this. You always have interesting perspectives on things like this. That's exactly why I wanted to do this interview. It's something I could talk about all day.
Yeah, AI and Epstein, man.
AI and Epstein. I mean, we can go into Epstein next.
I was kind of joking. It's just so disgusting. God. Okay, Epstein. Here's my thoughts. I don't think that Trump is okay. What I don't think is happening, but I'm like, is Trump on the list? And did he kill Epstein? What the fuck is going on right now? Like, or is it just geopolitical scheming? And he's like, we can't unveil it because it'll blow the lid off everything, and we're not going to tell them that we're not going to do it because it'll blow the lid off everything. But maybe anyway, that's all I had to say about that.
I mean, I'm in agreement. I think that the files are obviously real. The way they're handling is terrible. It is terrible. What I tweeted out about it was it's interesting that Epstein died under Trump's administration, and now the case is dying under his second administration. It's just interesting. It's interesting how that's playing out. I don't think Trump is implicated in any way. What I actually believe, I'll give my honest opinion on it. What I actually believe is that he does have access to the list, but because of his ambitions with making America great again, releasing that list will destroy all ambitions of that. And depending on how far you think it extends, it would likely start World War III, which would also bring America into turmoil. So I think he just doesn't want to be the person to do it. He wants to be the person that makes America great again. He does not want to be the person that released the Epstein files and destroyed the country, which I don't agree with that stance. I just think that's where he's at.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't think it's America's duty. Like, it's not just the American government. That ring was like multinational thing, and I don't know why we would put it at the feet of the people in the American government and be like, "It's your job." Like, bro, maybe it's the King of England's job. Like, what do you get off my back? And another thing I'm thinking about, talking about. I went for a long. My friend in like middle school said talking. He would say the N. He wouldn't put the G at the end. So I started doing that, and I realized I got to get back to saying talking like normal, like use the G. Is talking about my conspiracy potentials online is very different than talking about them offline, because just putting the idea out there can cause severe diplomatic damage. Just floating the idea, and for so long, especially with like war and talking about like military strikes and like I don't know. So I'm pretty
conflicts in general.
Tepid about making claims, particularly making claims without evidence. I'm not going to do that, but just even joking about it, it's so
or
touchy.
Making assumptions,
that World War III thing's no joke. If it did blow the lid off of like an international banking cartel that was based out of Switzerland, and all the 12 richest families on Earth felt
and
threatened,
Mossad and whatever else,
you don't think nukes would fly? Like, that is the main reason for nuclear war, would be to protect those families, trying to protect themselves. I don't know if it's just families, but it's like to keep humanity in the dark. Like, how much darkness would you put them in? Like, would you knock out all the electrical power to keep them in the dark? I think some people would. So I don't know, man. It's like scratching at a fucking cage where I hear a lot of rumbling in there, and I don't really think necessarily opening the cage is the best idea.
Yeah, we all want to open the cage, but we don't know what the repercussions of opening the cage are. But we all believe that the repercussions of opening the cage aren't enough to not open the cage. So it's like,
Well, I don't know
we're
if
just
I don't
sitting here
know about
screaming,
that.
open it. But
I'm not screaming that, to be honest. I'm not. I don't know enough about it. That's the reason. If it literally upset the order and caused so much chaos that people started going, like mercenary armies and shit and nuclear warheads and threats and assassinations, and I just don't want to. I don't know if that road necessarily needs to be traversed.
if it was guaranteed that World War III starts because of the Epstein files, would you want them released?
No.
So
No.
so you would keep the Epstein files under lock and key to avoid World War III. Like
Yes.
Epstein files stay locked up, but World War III doesn't happen.
Yes. And anyone that says they would have World War III to know a little bit of data is a fucking psychopath.
I myself have said on my show that I would release the files, but I think you're right. I think if you genuinely believe that you would have to be a little psychotic, because look, the as things with Epstein are some of the worst things imaginable that a human could ever do. But to then say, yeah, all that stuff is bad and terrible, we need to know about it to the point that World War III starts. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Don't have to know everything. But there's no guarantee that it would start World War III. There isn't,
Right,
which is why people are like pushing it to the limit. It is shocking the way that administration, particularly Donald Trump, has just like heel kicked, turned, stomped, and just like 180. A 180. I don't know if he particularly in his campaigning was like, I'm going to release the Epstein files. People around him were talking about it. I don't know if he.
Well, so I've played a video on my channel talking about it when all this stuff started happening, and he was campaigning on it. He himself had made multiple comments about releasing it. There was an interview, which was funny because it was an interview with Fox News. It was 3 people, and Pete Hegseth were one of the people asking the questions at the time. And one of the questions they asked him were the files that he would declassify as president. And they went through the list. They went through RFK, MLK, 9/11, and then they got to Epstein. And he said that he would release the Epstein files directly. But if you look at the full clip, he did kind of obfuscate it a little bit because he's like, well, it depends because there's some fake stuff in there. And even back then, he was saying that there's stuff that was doctored in those files. So he's actually been quite consistent. I just don't agree with him.
Yeah, and I think Tim made a good point yesterday or a couple days ago that he could lie. They could have released a fake list just to shut people up, and he didn't. They didn't, because he's he's a relatively ethical guy. Say what you want. Nobody in huge positions of power like that is purely a saint, but I think he's not the kind of guy that wants to create more lies. He just wants this thing to fucking die, this whole Epstein scandal, for some reason or another. But he doesn't seem like he wants to do more to put it away, which I find commendable. Honestly.
Yeah, I just think the way that he's handling his responses have just been terrible. Whoever's been putting out his Truth Social post or typing those out for him, or if it's just him doing it, and whoever's in his ear needs to shut up or needs to tell him to stop. Because I've said this on my show as well. It would have been better if they just kicked the can down the road and not have said anything, honestly. Like, we're working on it. We'll get it to you as soon as possible, and they just kept kicking the can down the road. It would have been a better. There would have been a better response.
Or been like, the files have been destroyed. We have no. I don't know, but then. Sorry, I interrupted you. What you were gonna say?
To add to what you're saying, if what they said is that the files were destroyed, then the reason they didn't do that is because then people would be like, okay, well, if you know that they were destroyed, where's the proof they were destroyed?
Yeah, and maybe they weren't destroyed.
Well, because that's what I've said, because in one of Trump's Truth Social posts recently, he outright said that a lot of the Epstein file stuff was doctored, and then he names names. And I'm like, okay, so if we know stuff is doctored, prove that it was doctored, and then if you can name the names of those who doctored it, prove how they doctored it. It's
another issue I got with this Epstein narrative is the word pedophile. How people will say, that he had a ring, a pedophilia ring. Now, okay, there's just two different. When I think of that, there are two different realities here. There are people that engage in sexual perversion with like young people, like 5, 6, 5. Like that is the sickest shit. That is the definition of pedophilia in my eyes. When I think of that sick behavior, that's that vicious, probably one of the grossest crimes of humanity you could ever accomplish.
It's the one crime that even criminals won't let you get away with.
Oh yeah. Someone like that goes to prison. Notoriously, they'll get beat up or killed in prison. People that do that. But then there's 30, 40-year-olds that have sex with 17-year-old girls or 15-year-old girls. Age of consent's 14 in some countries. That's not pedophilia. Legally, it is. Legally, it's rape, which is what, if you know what vicious, violent rape is, that is a completely different crime than a 26-year-old having sex with a 17-year-old girl consensually. That is, you might use that same term, but we got to not soften the word pedophile, because that Epstein ring is a blackmail ring. But I don't think that those people were like, got to get those little children. They were like, they were into hot girls, and he was bringing 15 or 16-year-olds along. I don't know how young they were getting. I have not heard any evidence that they were 9-year-olds, that they were doing the sick shit. I haven't heard any of that. So I want to be clear about that. That's how I feel on that anyway, the whole pedophilia. Because I've heard the people calling it a pedophilia ring, and it makes no sense to me.
Well, you're absolutely right about everything you just said. And to add to what you're saying, because a lot of people misuse the word pedophile, even beyond what you were just saying. The word pedo specifically refers to prepubescent children. So someone that is attracted to someone who's still a minor but is a teenager, that's a separate category. That's not pedophile. It's still a disgusting person, but pedophiles are specifically for prepubescent.
Thank you.
So a lot of people will call other people pedophiles for, like you said, 14-year-olds. That person is still disgusting, but that's not it's separate. It's a separate category. Like you said, let's not lessen the meaning of the word.
Awesome.
Anyway. Joey sent in another question too. Let me ask real quick. See, let me pull this up. Joey, he sent in a second question for Ian. He said, I asked a few months ago if you'd like to be willing to have a discussion about Christianity with Slick. Slick is a volunteer on the Discord. He runs the Bible study on the Discord. And Joey would like to know if you'd still be interested to have a discussion about Christianity with him.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's I think Joey's messaged you before. It's Professor Dama on X, I think is his name.
Perfect. Yeah, let's set it up.
Joey, message Ian then. But yeah, so I think that conversation would be really great. Slick is very knowledgeable and very what is it? Cordial. He's very cordial, but he's very knowledgeable. So I think it'd be a good conversation. But anyway, let's jump to this next question. I asked earlier, but then I jumped to another question, so I'm going to come back to this one. I want to know what it's like behind the scenes of Timcast IRL, and how has it changed since you started? I've heard a little bit. Chris from the Quiet Part Pod, he's been on there twice now, so I've heard a little bit from him, but I want to know more from you.
I was thinking about this a couple days ago, actually, talking about getting like a 360, 360 cameras. You ever see one of those where you can watch, on YouTube, there's, if you can upload a video and have YouTube 360 cam. I want to do that in the room at the studio because I'm so familiar with it on the inside. I just looks like normal when I go in there, whenever we make show, TV or whatever, we'll just do it in a room somewhere. But to the outside person that's never seen it, and I've experienced this watching a show that I like a lot, and then I see the studio. I'm like, whoa, that's what it's like. I thought he was over there. Oh my gosh, he's been sitting there the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, he's taller than I thought. Like that kind of stuff. That's like, I think that's really good for the human brain to kind of flesh out beliefs, to challenge preconceptions. It's really healthy to see behind the curtain of your own beliefs. So I want to plop a 360 cam in there one day on the fifth chair and let the whole, just for one episode, and let everyone, if they want to come in and watch, and just, you can turn and put a headset on if you got one, and you can turn and look, or you can just move the camera back and forth and look at the other as people talk. That'd be very cool. That was my initial thought when you asked the question. What was the follow-up part of that question?
So the second half of that question, actually, before I ask the second half, I want to ask one thing, since I have the opportunity. I need to know. How tall is Phil?
I think he's 5'6". Or 5'5".
Okay, so he's not shorter than me. That's all I needed to know. because what's it called Chris, like I said, the Quiet Part Pod, he was telling me that Chris, how short Chris was, or how short Phil was, and I was like, there's no way Phil is shorter than me. I'm like 5'5", 5'6", because like you were just saying, that my perspective of Phil is that he was probably like 6 foot or maybe a little bit less.
He seems huge.
He seems like a huge guy on camera,
Yeah.
but then I've heard now from you and other people that he is not, and it blows my mind a little bit.
He's a massive presence. When he's there, I don't think of him as short when I'm looking at him, just because he's kind of a big guy. But
Right.
but yeah, he's like 5'5" or 5'6", I guess. 5'6",
Okay,
something.
well, I just wanted to ask, since you've seen
That's
him a lot
awesome.
more than anyone. But so the second half of that question is, how do you feel Timcast IRL, or just Tim in general, has changed since you started on the show?
Oh, it's so much better. I think we listen to each other a lot more now. In the early days, it was like, for me, it was like jamming. I thought of it as me and Tim are going to do a show, or I'm going to join the show. Him and Adam were doing it, and then you got a new It's kind of like a different show with different people on it. So it was on the same channel, Timcast IRL, but when I joined, it kind of became a new show that me and Tim were doing instead of Tim and Adam show. And it was like, I treated it as a jam session where he would be talking, and I would just come in and talk and argue and like just feed it. And it was chaos. It was a kind of messy. And I think we never really talked about it, but I was like, we're just in a band jamming with our words. And I realized over time that he wanted more to be the orchestra leader, the orchestrator, and I was like first trumpet. So instead of it being a jam session where we're equals, he's like in charge, he's in control of the room, and I'm the most effective, first chair. And so I started once I started doing that, things got real smooth. A lot about enjoying his orchestration, supporting the flow, less about trying to get my thoughts and ideas in, more about being part of a great experience.
And that definitely ties into what we were talking about earlier. I guess a follow up to that would be, and I doubt you have an actual answer for this, but I'll ask just out of curiosity. Is there anything that you personally would want to see different about the show?
I want to interview more video game developers and like cultural heroes on IRL because it's such a huge platform. But that's kind of a debate between Tim and I. Like, Tim's generally his response would be like, it's a politics show. We'll have him on the Culture War, is usually what he does. Culture War is big, gets 100,000 views, 50 to 300. It gets a lot of views. It's a big show, Friday morning show.
Getting bigger too. It's a little newer than his IRL.
And so back in the day when I'd be like, we should have cultural icon on, he'd be like, yeah, on Culture War. But I'm still I like just shoehorning in people that need to be heard, that aren't necessarily, you wouldn't think of them as right for the format. Fuck that. Fuck the format. Fuck the rules. I want to bring the best and show the world. So that I want to have Sam Hyde on. Never going to happen. No, I don't think it, I would love to have Sam on there one day. But like chaos, it's a little more balanced. Like I used to be a little more flippant about introducing chaos into the show, but it's a very strong, organized, structured environment. So fucking with it isn't necessarily the best, but I would like to have like musicians like Billy Corgan. I want to get these prolific visionaries on too, in addition to politics. I don't know. Maybe it's better that it's segmented. He's good at marketing his stuff. He knows how to do it.
Well, I think the perfect segue for that is to follow up with this question. If you could have any guest on Timcast IRL, someone who's never been on before, who would that be, and what would you want to talk to them about? It could be a guest that they've had on, but you weren't on the episode. That I'll let that count.
I guess Jim Tour. He's a graphene scientist out of Rice University. He's great. I did an interview with him on my channel. We did it to our different channels. He's but I want to have him on with like the Defense Department, like the head of our Department of Defense. Or the thing is, I wouldn't want to necessarily have that conversation in public. It's like a high tech conversation about energy production and like revamping our electrical grid. I don't know if IRL is necessarily the format for that. Jim is great though. James Tour, if you look him up and you like graphene, he's like probably the best.
And he's never been on Timcast?
No, we were looking at having him on, but it didn't really fit the format, and travel was tough for him at the time, so it just shuttered that one episode. So we've done remote. He'd be a good one.
Have you done a one-on-one with him?
Yeah,
on your channel.
Yeah, virtually. We weren't in the same room together. Virtually, he's a cool interview. He's very smart. He's also religious, which was interesting because he's a chemist, but he's like, and I'll prove to you that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. I'm like, homie, you're a scientist. What are you doing? That's like magic. But he's a cool dude. So Jim, I think I'd put him at the top. And then other than that, Eddie Vedder. I mean, I just don't think IRL is the format for interviewing all these musicians that I love so much.
I think that would be a really good guest. I'm gonna have to go watch the episode you had with him on your channel. I haven't seen that episode.
Yeah, it's my first interview on the Ian Crossland Live on my Ian Crossland YouTube channel.
Okay,
on that playlist.
I'm definitely gonna check it out. I'll probably check it out right after this then. So you said you'd only give me an hour. We've now gone hour and 35. I really appreciate it. I have just two more questions if I could ask them.
Yeah, sure, man.
So I have a question. The last two questions I'll ask are the questions that were given to me from some of the members of the community. Well, I already asked you a few, but these are the remaining ones I have. So Chris from the Quiet Part Pod, he asked, even before the election, you were critical of Trump for a variety of reasons, and yet you still managed to cast your ballot for him. While anyone who has followed you on Timcast knows that this is something you wrestled with in the lead up to November, given how things have been going over the last 45 days, how do you feel about that choice? And do you think it would have gone any better with Kamala, or is Trump as good as it was going to get?
Oh, he was as good as it was going to get. That's my thought. I don't regret any of it. No, he was by far the least worst choice. And secretly, I'd been planning on voting for him for a long time before that, but I was not going to play that card in public. And you never know if a great candidate had arisen, like if RFK got the Democratic nod, and I would have voted for RFK probably over.
You would have gone RFK over
yeah,
Trump?
he was the only guy I would have voted over Trump was RFK, the only contender. And when he was like Trump, it became very clear. And I did seem like I kind of not really jumped on a bandwagon, but people were like, Ian, why won't you do it? Why won't you say it? Why won't you do it? Why won't you say it? And I'm like, hey man, November 5th is when I'll say it. No, I don't regret any of it, man. He was definitely the one most willing to speak the truth. But the thing is, you get into that position and you're bound by secrecy. The president, like George Washington, was a great keeper of secrets. He knew how to trick people. He would send in the military, especially when you're the commander of the military, you need to know how to trick people, how to mislead them and get them to believe one thing while you're doing another. Then you got to wrestle with, how do I treat my domestic populace? Because obviously you want the leaders of the Iranian caliphate to not see it coming. So you got to tell some lies here and there. I get that. But then when you're talking to your own people, but then it's like, well, it's on the internet. So yeah, he's telling us who's Epstein anyway. I never heard of him, but it's not like he's just telling the American people that. He's telling the whole world. So everything that's being said is to everyone. You can't really just get a message just to your population. So he's kind of in a rock and a hard place about how honest to be about this stuff. I still, by far, would rather have him in there than the totalitarian. The tech Kamala, I didn't like her much. I mean, I'm not a big fan of her politically at all. I felt like she was kind of just put in there because she was black, and then and a woman of color. They kept saying that.
It was the DEI hire.
But it was the way, it was DEI, but the way they just selected her as the candidate. They didn't have a primary. That I would not vote for that. I didn't vote I voted against the process. I won't vote for, imperialist selections of candidates. I don't care who the guy was. Yeah,
nor should you. Like if Trump was installed in a similar manner, I would have been outspoken completely against it. Maybe even not even voted.
Yeah, exactly.
So just the sheer fact that the Democrats just had no issue with it was astounding, and some of them questioned it. They were just like, "Oh yeah, she's the she got nominated."
And some of them did. When I pointed it out to people, they were like, "Oh." I was like, I'm not voting. They kept saying we got to protect our democracy, that he's a threat to democracy, and then they threatened our democracy by installing a candidate. And I told my parents that, and they were both like, "Shit,
yeah,
fuck."
But no, I completely agree. I'm of the same view of Tim. You know, you look at the past, like, presidents we've had in the past generation or two, and all of them have like an F rating for their grade. But then Trump comes along and he's got like a D plus, C minus, not great, but way better than the other ones still.
And the people he put in with him, RFK, the way that Maha is getting like fucking plastic out of our soda supply, like our food supply has been liquidated, has been revolutionary. The way, and a lot of these companies are changing their ingredients without even being forced to. Like they see it coming. They're just getting ahead of the curve. They're taking dyes out of their foods, taking azo dyes, stuff that's made from. So that, criticize Trump for the things that he does and says as well, but the people that he's surrounded himself with are fucking top notch. And Tulsi Gabbard, I'm a huge fan of Tulsi Gabbard. I might have voted for her actually if she'd been selected as the Democratic candidate too. I followed her work for about a decade. And Cash, I love that guy. I mean, I trust him as much as I can. I trust him face to face, but I know he's supposed to be in there lying. The head of the FBI or secret police force. You can't just tell everyone everything.
Yeah, and I know you've met Cash personally. I mean,
multiple times. Yeah, he's great.
So I'm sure it's hard with this situation to question him because you've sat across from him and you've talked to the guy. Do you think he's lying in this situation, or if he is lying, is it because he has to?
Yes. Yeah, it's like watching your friends go into Mount Doom. It's like you watching your friends when they get into that politic thing. They go into that White House. You're watching them go into this place, and it's like, I'll see you when I see you, man.
Yeah.
You're one of the best, so I hope you can make it out. There's a lot and then they go in, and it's like they're going to be different people when they come out of there. That was something that Vivek Ramaswamy said. He's like, I know I'll be a different person after I'm the president, but that's just the way it goes. It changes you, and I don't want to be too hard on these people trying to do damage control, sail us through this hail of glaciers that we're smashing into as we travel, and they're trying to make sure we don't sink.
Okay, and the next question I want to pull up is from Ruby Nora. I think you'll like this question. Ruby Nora, she wants to know how or what has led you down the metaphysical path.
Oh, starting YouTube videos. Well, right before that, I started into communication and looking into eyes. I think it was when I started to really make a lot of eye contact is when I started to get more metaphysical. I started to get more spirituals when I started making a lot of eye contact. And that was with individuals I would meet, and I would talk to them and be like, I think in LA, I did this thing where I realized communication, you can overcome any obstacle if you communicate. And I would go to people, I would meet in LA at parties, I would tell them this, and they would be like, oh my God. In LA, there's this like, this take on LA that people are fake in LA. But I realized that people were afraid of each other. That was what it was. And if you break the ice, if you break through and talk to them and look in their eyes like they're one of your friends, they are your friend. If you treat them like they're your best friend, they are your best friend. They act like it. And then I started making YouTube videos about it. I was like, I gotta tell the world this stuff. So I started that was the reason I started making YouTube videos, was I wanted to tell the world this information about communication. And I started watching my own eyes, and hours and hours of just smoking pot. That probably had a lot to do with it too, was smoking a lot of pot. And because you get the perception enhancement, but the diminishment of memory. So you're very in the moment. At least I was very in the moment with heightened perception, and I'm watching my own eyes and studying my own brain. And then other people would start to tell me things about the spirit realm and DMT and Terrence McKenna, and they're introducing me to people like Terrence McKenna. I'd never heard of him before. And then the psilocybin, first time, I'd never really heard of psilocybin, didn't know much about psilocybin. I knew magic mushrooms were a thing. And so I was learning about these DMT. I think I even heard of a little bit. And then when I took psilocybin, game on. I realized the structure of reality is, I just see it different now. I'm not, it's less of a soup of mess that I'm in. It's more of like a structure built around me.
I get what you're saying though, because the first time I took psilocybin, I don't know what, it's hard to explain because I feel like an idiot when I explain it, but basically after I took psilocybin, I realized that everyone I speak to, everyone I see in my day-to-day life, can make a split-second change in their decision just like I could. And it terrified me for a little bit because it made me realize, I don't know, this is why I feel stupid saying it, because after taking psilocybin for the first time, it made me realize that everyone that I see in my day-to-day life is just exactly like me and can change their mind at a snap of a finger. And it scared me for a little while. But it also made me, it was also sobering in the fact that I could go up to anyone and it made me realize that person is exactly like me, down to the last detail. They could think like me. They could have a bad day just like me. After taking psilocybin, it really opened my eyes to just other people. It was interesting.
Yeah, I went on a kind of a crusade about how we're all the same. And man, did that get the cultists? That got a big, strong crowd of people being like, yes, we are all the same. Ian, tell me more how we're all the same.
Yeah.
And I was doing that. And I realized in the back of my mind, I knew like, well, we're all similar. We're not the same.
Yeah.
Not literally. That's hyperbole. And that rhetoric of we're all the same leads to communism. I see how that can happen. You create like a populist uprising of, yes, we are all the same until one of us has to take in control. And then you're all kind of waiting while I'm in here working. We're not the same. And so over time, I learned the I guess the subtlety of difference, but we are so similar, dude. We are, and I mean, it's some molecular subatomic level. We're not the same, but we sure are similar. Like a bunch of spiraling ecstatic force. And just the human, obviously, you know, every snowflake is different. They're not all the same, but
actually that was proven false.
Oh, there's some snowflakes
they
are
have
the same.
found snowflakes that are
that makes more
similar
sense.
in formation, yeah.
Like identical twins.
Right. Yeah.
It can happen, yeah.
But well, this has been an excellent interview, Ian. This has been amazing. I think this is the excellent question to end off on. What advice would you give young people who feel overwhelmed or black-pilled?
Wow, I give you a lot of advice. Your diet is going to help you a lot. A good, healthy diet and that means sometimes just don't eat. If you gotta let your body digest the shitty stuff and it's going to hurt, like you're feeling in pain, that'll get it out of you. And then you get all this clarity of thought. Communication will get you back in the game. If you feel low and out of it, you'd be shocked at how a conversation can make you have a will to live and a reason to go. So do that. I guess that's all. I could go on and on. You know, I say I'm here for you, but that's kind of vague. Because I used to want to help people. Like if I saw someone suffering, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm here for you." It just doesn't scale. I couldn't go to everyone suffering and be there for them. And I don't want to give people false hope that maybe I will be when I won't be. So I can't really. But you know, you got to help yourself, your diet, and moving. I mean, like you were saying, working out. Singing, for me, the vibration heals your body. Anyway, those couple things. And what was it?
Sorry, what I want to add to that is something I actually heard your father say earlier, and I think what people need to do if you're feeling black-pilled or overwhelmed by everything you're seeing in the news or everything in your life, you should do what Tim Crossland said, and that's find one thing out of your day that was good and talk about that. Talk about the one thing that was good today. What was something good that happened today? If you do that every single day, the world won't be so black.
Oh, that's for sure. I just saw a video about how your thoughts are so much more influential than you realize. Your thoughts, what you're thinking about, has dramatic impact on your future behavior because your body is on auto. It's like an animal that you're training in real time. It works on autopilot. It's doing what it knows to do. You give it information and then it does. So if you don't you're kind of coding your body's behavioral function with your thoughts, and then your body will go do it. You don't you can move your body, but your body works on autopilot a lot. So you're training it with your thoughts, and you got to be. I'm not a purist, but you just police your thoughts.
No, I completely agree. And you made a tweet relating to that somewhat. And I replied to you, yes, thinking positively will increase the odds of a positive outcome, just as thinking negatively will increase the odds of a negative outcome. That's not to say that thinking negatively will guarantee a negative outcome or vice versa. It's just, you're increasing or decreasing the odds by the way you think about something.
Yep. Yeah, I used to do that fallacy of like your thoughts are creating reality. It's not that one to one. It's not like thought hence reality. There, it's more like what you're saying, that the positive thoughts will create
Could
more likelihood
influence
of
the
positive.
outcome. Yeah.
And I'm thinking a lot about quantum entanglement and ephaptic coupling, the way neurons can couple with other neurons within magnetic fields, like the Earth's localized magnetic field, and how your thoughts might be doing way more creation alteration than we realize. I've been thinking about that the last couple of days. Also, sunlight. Last piece of advice to anyone: sunlight. You get it. Let your face up there. Feel it deep in your eyes. Sneeze, because it'll make me sneeze. Get that gunk out of you a couple times a day. Get that sunlight at least. That's really good too. Also, drink a lot of water and pee and poop when you have to. This is the advice for the black belt. If you feel like shit, it probably means you got to take one. So your body doesn't, like I'm saying, your body's on autopilot. It doesn't know if you just don't let it pee when it has to pee. It doesn't it just suffers as a result. If you don't let it shit when it has to shit, it just starts suffering. So you need to let it get its functions taken care of. And apparently clearing out your prostate by having 4 explosive orgasms a week is extremely good for the longevity of your gonads. So take care of that too.
I think that's an excellent way to close this close this out. Thank you so much, Ian. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to ask me or tell the audience?
No, man, but let's do it again sometime. Maybe with your other co-hosts too. You mentioned that they want to come and do a show sometime.
I had a lot of people in the Discord that were mentioning coming on, but yes, I do have a co-host. But in order for you to speak with him, it would have to be like a Monday or Tuesday because he works during the days.
Let's coordinate something and do more stuff with the Discord and everything.
Definitely, man. Hit me up. I'll be in contact. This was super fun. I'm glad we could. We almost went 2 hours, so you almost gave me double the time you said you would.
That's great.
Excellent, man. Are you going to be on Timcast tonight, or?
I don't think so. Tomorrow for sure.
Oh, you're
I
on
think
tomorrow?
probably not tonight. No, not tonight. I think I'm going to go to the sauna. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to take care of myself tonight in some way.
There you go. I think I'm going to go do the same.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you absolutely made my day by showing up, Ian. This was a blast. Like you said, I would love to have you on again, whether to talk about news or do another interview just like this. I have so many more questions that I could ask you. We could probably go another 2-3 hours if we had the time. But I think right here's a good place to leave it for the time being. Anything you want to say?
No, that's it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you again so much. And then everyone, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. I'm going to send you guys over to Outworld Live with Joey Cannoli. He's doing his show. For those of you that don't know, I start the day at 1 p.m., 4 p.m. Eastern, and then followed by me is Joey Cannoli on Outworld Live, and then followed by Joey is Chris from the Quiet Part Pod, and he leads everybody into Timcast IRL. So make sure you guys go and check those out, and make sure you tune in to Timcast today. And again, thank you so much, Ian. You guys have a great day.